Have you ever heard of the Japanese belief that catfish cause earthquakes? Japan is an earthquake-prone country that sits atop active fault lines. Before the development of modern science, how did the Japanese people cope with that fear? It is not widely known that the Japanese once believed earthquakes were caused by a giant catfish. This time, let's delve into the little-known Japanese belief in catfish, the wisdom and humor embedded in it, and how people came to terms with their fear. Earthquakes, which strike suddenly without any warning, were, and still are, greatly feared. The origins of the catfish belief are ancient, with some saying that it first appeared in records during the Muromachi period. However, it became most well known in the mid-Edo period, especially after the Ansei Great Earthquake of 1855. Among common folk, it was believed that a giant catfish lives underground, and when it thrashes about, it causes earthquakes. Why a catfish? Several reasons are thought to explain this. The catfish has a slippery body and a shape that seems to slither along the ground, giving it an appearance of something that might lurk beneath the earth. It was believed to thrash violently just before an earthquake, making it a creature that could sense impending disturbances. In this way, the image of catfish equaling a being that causes earthquakes took root among the people. In recent years, one of the findings of the study has shown that catfish do, in fact, become extremely active right before an earthquake. This has proven that the intuitive sense of people in old Japan may not have been entirely off the mark. There is a legendary god said to restrain the giant catfish beneath the earth. That god is Takamikazuchi no Mikoto, the deity enshrined at Kashima Shrine in Ibaraki Prefecture. This shrine houses a sacred stone known as the kaname-ishi, which means keystone. Remarkably, this stone is said to be buried many kilometers deep into the earth, and its full form is unknown to anyone. It is believed to be pinning down the head of the catfish, and has long been regarded as a symbol of calming earthquakes. This is the kaname-ishi in Kashima Jingu. The fence surrounding it on all four sides is called tamagaki, and acts as a barrier separating this world from the sanctuary. This keystone is paired with another stone at Kotori Shrine in neighboring Chiba Prefecture. There is a legend that the gods of both shrines work together to restrain the earthquake catfish with their keystones. Even today, visitors to Kashima Shrine or Kotori Shrine can be seen praying directly to the stone itself, believing that, because this stone exists, the catfish does not thrash. As a side note, the great deities enshrined at Kashima and Kotori shrines are both known as gods of martial arts. It's not uncommon to see scrolls bearing their names hanging in martial arts dojos. For more details, please watch the video linked here. October 2nd, 1855. The Ansei Great Earthquake struck Edo. Over 10,000 lives were lost, samurai residences and commoners' row houses collapsed, and the city of Edo was thrown into chaos. At that time, a major craze among the common people was for woodblock prints called namazu-e, meaning catfish pictures. Although strict censorship was imposed on publications in Japan at the time, these prints somehow slipped past the shogunate's watchful eye and are said to have become explosively popular. Namazu-e were illustrations that anthropomorphized catfish, packed with social satire and moral lessons. Their content was incredibly diverse. Merchants losing their wealth in the earthquake, while craftsmen rejoice at gaining new work. Gods battling to subdue the catfish. People offering gifts to the kaname-ishi, pleading, "Please don't thrash anymore." It's said that over 100 types of namazu-e were printed in a single night. Some of them could be read as a divine punishment on merchants who profited through unjust means, strongly reflecting the feelings of the common people at the time. In other words, namazu-e were not simply illustrations of disaster. They served as satire and social commentary on how to interpret natural calamities, and were also believed to function as talismans or prayer objects. In the late Edo period, The backdrop of society included Perry's arrival, political instability at the end of the shogunate, and widening social inequality. Amid such conditions, earthquakes were sometimes seen not merely as natural disasters but as divine judgment, or as something that would reset the world. For example, reconstruction required timber, which brought a sudden economic boom to poor woodcutters and carpenters. There was also a perspective that saw the catfish as a god of yonoshi, meaning to right wrongs, causing earthquakes to correct injustice. Catfish belief was a silent voice of the people at the time, blending hope and irony, laughter and anger. Today, of course, earthquakes are scientifically understood to result from tectonic plate movement. Still, the saying, "when catfish thrash, an earthquake is coming," remains in regional dialects, and nearly all Japanese people naturally associate catfish with earthquakes. Moreover, the image of the catfish continues to live on as a symbol of disaster preparedness. Catfish characters are still used in earthquake warning apps and on disaster evacuation signs. Even in this modern age, where earthquakes are explained by science, the catfish remains deeply rooted in the hearts of the Japanese, beyond logic. To face the invisible fear of earthquakes, the Japanese people have long relied on the power of imagination. The catfish was both a symbol of fear and an embodiment of hope. Though feared, hoped in, and revered as an object of belief, the catfish has also been eaten as food in certain regions. Unlike wolf or fox beliefs we've introduced in the past, where the animals themselves are gods or divine messengers, the catfish, while an object of belief, is not seen as a god or sacred creature. So there's no contradiction in it being both worshipped and eaten. Perhaps eating the catfish, which was believed to cause earthquakes, was also thought to provide stamina or serve as a kind of charm against disaster. The region closest to Tokyo that treats catfish dishes as local cuisine is Yoshikawa City in Saitama Prefecture. It's about 40 minutes by train from central Tokyo. On the south side of the station, you'll find a golden catfish statue. This town has many rice paddies and a well-developed network of canals and waterways. The rice harvested here was transported via canal to Tokyo, Edo. The environment is ideal for catfish. In Yoshikawa City, catfish characters appear all over town. Catfish began being served in restaurants around the same time namazu-e prints became popular. There are still several long-established catfish specialty restaurants that date back to that era. I visited one of them this time called Masuya. Here is the catfish sashimi. This pink stuff is called momiji oroshi. It's grated radish mixed with a little chili pepper, giving the sashimi a little bite. Roll it up with some green onion, and then dip it in ponzu, which is a citrus-flavored sour soy sauce. It has an unexpectedly refined flavor and a firm, crunchy texture. Next is catfish tempura. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. There's none of the muddy or fishy odor often associated with river fish. Here is a minced and fried catfish dish. The finely crushed bones remain just enough to add a pleasant texture. This is a simmered dish made with catfish roe. It has a strong flavor that pairs well with alcohol. As far as I know, there are 3 or 4 restaurants in Tokyo that serve catfish dishes, but they only have 1 or 2 items on the menu, so this town is the representative of authentic catfish specialty restaurants in the metropolitan area. After the meal, we also visited a catfish farm. Here's a catfish farm. Unfortunately, I couldn't go inside. It's hard to believe that this tranquil landscape is just 40 minutes by train from Tokyo. I saw a few people fishing in the canal next to the fish farm. Perhaps they were fishing for catfish. Japan Bee is a channel that randomly shares information about lesser-known aspects of Japanese culture, spanning across various genres.